Hello everyone, it is Sunday, September 26th, and this is episode 32 of Odds Are, your S&P 500 weekly market forecast. All right, let's take a look at what happened last week. So, nice dip and then bounce back. I mean, story of our lives, right? I mean, it seems like every time we have this pattern, we end up bouncing back. But if you remember from last week, we were looking at this chart, and I said, I may sound like an economist, but this could continue to go further, but it also could bounce back up sharply. And actually, if you look at this chart, it did a little bit of both. So that's why I was kind of like torn between saying it's going to continue to go down or whether it's going to bounce back up, because I saw signs indicating both possibilities. And so what happened was we had another big red candle on Monday, went all the way down to almost hitting that 42.93 lower settlement limit, and then we kind of stalled, and then we shot right back up. So like I said, we did both. We continued the downward extension, and then we bounced back up above the parabolic SAR, so we didn't close below that. We closed within the expected settlement range, and we did have a breach of the breach point. So all in all, I mean, no surprise there. This week played out almost exactly as I thought it would, where we would still have the breach, and I just knew that there was still going to be that buy the dip mentality, whether or not it kicked in early in the week or later in the week. But that downward momentum going into the week was still a force to be reckoned with. All right, so let's take a look at the moving averages. So we stayed exactly where we were last week, with the short-term moving average being bearish, because we did have that, like I said, big red candle to start the week, and then we bounced back up. But that was not enough to get the short-term moving average back into neutral territory, so we are still, kind of where we left off. So medium term still bullish, long term still bullish. Let's see what happens next week. All right, let's see what prices we're expecting for next week, what price points. So your breach points, a lower breach point of 43.42, an upper breach point of 45.03, with an 81.32% chance that we are going to breach one of those two levels. And then the expected settlement range. Take a look at how close the breach points are to the expected settlement range. I mean, normally there is more of a gap between those 2 points, but here, I mean, they're, in one case within 21 points, and in the other case, 18 points. So, not very far at all when you consider where we're at, how much movement that would actually take to breach one and go outside of the range. But your expected settlement range for the week is between 43.24 and 45.24. The 79.2% chance of closing within that expected settlement range. So again, if we do breach one of those breach points, it would not take much to also go beyond the expected settlement range, but we could always, like I said, pull back, either go up and pull back down, or go down and shoot back up. But what I find really interesting here is, let's take a look at that parabolic SAR. It's at 43.78. So 2 weeks ago, it wasn't even within the expected settlement range. Then last week, it was within the expected settlement range, but below the breach point. And now 43.78 is above both the lower end of the settlement range and the lower breach point, which means that it increases the possibility, right? The probability that we will close below that 43.78 if we end up breaching to the downside. A lot more room basically to close still within the expected settlement range and below the 43.78. So that'd be that range between 43.24 and 43.78. All right, let's put all this together into the relative view for next week. And you can see that big wide range there with the red lines and the green lines kind of close to each other, representing the outer ranges, and then parabolic SAR there. Looking at the midline of the Bollinger Band. So again, kind of being drawn back up to that. So this is where we're going to see what happens. If the price goes up towards that midline of the Bollinger Band range, which right now we're looking at it somewhere around 44.72. If the price were to go back up to that 44.72 and then gets rejected and then shoots back down, then we're looking at that 43.42 breach point. If we get up to that range and it stalls for a second or it continues up, then that's the scenario where we hit up to 45.03. So I think that what happens when we get to 44.72, if we continue up that way, right, is really going to set the tone for whether or not that red midline becomes resistance on the top side or becomes support for the continuation of the rally. And now moving into, didn't see that one coming. All right, so last week, like I said, I almost felt silly because I had conflicting signals pulling, calling for my attention, and I sounded like I was not really sure because there was something telling me that we were going to continue going further down and also telling me that we're going to bounce back up. So I tried my best to convey that and share that with you guys. So hopefully you saw that coming. I saw both of those things coming and tried my best to articulate them, but hopefully, you guys got the message. If not, please leave any comments. Let me know if what I said made sense or if there's anything I can do at all to clarify some of these things for you guys so that I can be of more value when I'm sharing these signals with you. All right, and now we're going to wrap up with the quote of the week, which is by Mr. Albert Einstein himself. And he says, "Everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid." So for us in the trading space, there's this misconception that in order to be good at trading, you have to either be some kind of like math prodigy, you have to, crack some kind of quant code, you have to either, or go the opposite route, you have to be really in the know, and, you have to really have the inside scoop as to what's going on, insider trading. But really the fact is that, the other option is that you just spend your entire life studying these individual companies. And so you go out there and you find what their weaknesses are, which ones are ready to pop. So you're doing all the due diligence, digging into the fundamentals. And those are all different ways that people have tried to approach the markets. But everybody is a genius in their own way. And so if you come to the markets trying to be something that you're not, then you're probably going to fail. I mean, there's always that variable of luck that could just sprout up and make a difference. But just comparing, people over people and looking at the masses, if you are a genius in one regard, so let's say you're really good at pattern analysis, or you just really are in tune with the value of a company and you want to just invest in individual stocks, then maybe that's for you. If you could care less about, individual companies and you just love looking at the ticker, or you just looking at price action intraday, then that's your calling. If you like creating systems, then do that. But don't ever feel like you are dumb or feel like you are not able to participate in this market because your skill set does not align or resemble that of people that you've seen be successful in the market. I have no interest whatsoever in digging through the financials of a company. I also have no interest whatsoever in trying to, meet the right people to get the inside scoop on the next, biotech stock or something. I like patterns. I like, putting together systems that analyze things based on probability. That's just what I do. And so for you guys, I just want to encourage you that to, try to find that inner genius and don't believe that you are stupid because you're a fish trying to climb a tree. So with that, I will leave you guys. Enjoy this week. I don't know where in the world you are, but in my part of town here in Metro Detroit in Michigan, it's supposed to be like mid 70s and partly sunny the whole week. So I'm going to definitely try to enjoy it. Hope you guys do the same. Bye.